You're watching the news at 1. Thanks for staying with us. Now, for more on our top story, that's the inquest into the death of Ahmed Timol, we cross to our reporter Maageketla Mohlabe at the North Gauteng High Court. Good afternoon, Maageketla. Quite harrowing testimony coming out today.
A very good afternoon to you. Well, indeed, another shocking day in the court in terms of the testimonies that we've heard from the witnesses that have actually come through. The latest witness that has actually taken the stand just before this particular lunch break was the former police officer who was stationed at that particular John Foster Square police station, and his name is Paul Matthews, who's actually been telling us or telling the court that the system that was installed in that particular era, apartheid era, he actually indicated the kind of interrogation methods that they were applying on detainees, and one of them is that they were using electric shocks on these particular detainees to get them to confess to these particular police officers who were interrogating the detainees. Another shocking testimony that he gave was that when he was on a trip to Namibia, during this electric shock, some of these detainees would actually bite their tongues off, and this is one of the incidents that he regrets the most. But now, just to get the latest from the family member of Timol, is the younger brother of Timol, Ahmed Timol, just to tell us how the process has been to them so far. Mohammed, thanks so much for your time. What's your observation in this proceeding so far?
The second week of the inquest with the testimony of Paul Erasmus gives an indication that the security police were a brutal arm of the apartheid regime. It was the stormtroopers of the apartheid regime who had to at all costs keep the apartheid regime and the white minority government in power. So it is not surprising that we hear that such tactics have been used on detainees. The shocking evidence that was testimony that was given in the first sitting of the inquest court by Salim Essop, by Professor Casey Naik, by Dr. Dilsha Jatam, who was subjected to the most horrendous torture that one can imagine. But I've been a member of the African National Congress from a very early age, and we have known all along that the method of the security police was to, within the shortest period of time, try and break the resistance of the detainee in order to get as much information as possible so they could make further arrests. In fact, what we also know that in the early 1960s, when the security branch started becoming more sophisticated, they sent police officers to Algeria to get training from the French security services in order to learn techniques of interrogation and of torture and to break detainees within the shortest period of time.
Just before Paul Erasmus took the stand, which we saw later today, we saw the former state advocate also taking the stand, saying that he was in office either number 6 or 7 on those floors when he saw a body going down, and he believed that was the body of Timol. In that statement, he also said that there was no scream when he saw this body fall past his office. Does that give you the conviction that Timol was killed before he was allegedly thrown out of the 10th floor of John Foster?
It's very difficult for us to say at this point in time, because the original, we'll see how this thing goes through. There's a independent pathologist who's going to give evidence as well. But from the evidence that was given by Dr. Dilsha Jatam on the first week, she said that she heard Ahmed screaming from the early hours of Tuesday morning right up to the early hours of Wednesday morning, when all of a sudden all the screaming came to to a stop, and there was scattering on that particular floor where there's movement of the security branch, etc. But what is very significant here is that Dr. Dilshad Jettam, from the time she was detained at some time on that Saturday till the Wednesday morning, she was kept in an interrogation room throughout that period. But after the screaming stopped, and shortly after that, they removed her from that interrogation room and they took her into the cell section, which is a different section altogether. It gives us an indication that they wanted the detainee who heard the screams to be out of the way. So there's a possibility that Ahmed may have died at that particular time. On the other hand, he may have been very seriously, brutally injured, where the security branch felt that he may not survive. Right, and we must also remember that on the day before, on the Tuesday, Dr. Salim Esop, who also gave testimony, and said that he was hospitalized on the Tuesday. Right, so one gets a feeling that the security branch did not want to have two political detainees in hospital at the same time. So we don't know how things are going to unfold, whether he was alive or whether he was dead when the advocate saw his body being fall into the ground. Right. So we leave it at that particular time.
Thanks so much for your time. No. Well, that was Ahmed Timol's younger brother, Mohammed Timol, of course, giving his evidence with regard to what they believe happened in 1979, October 27th. And of course, we understand that the police officers that were arrested, that arrested Timol as well as his fellow detainees will also be coming through to give testimonies either this week or next week. So we'll be keeping in touch to actually keep our viewers updated in this Timol inquest. Back to you, studio.
Thanks for that update coming to us live there from the North Gauteng High Court.